My name's Hamish Pringle. I'm an artist exploring the idea of attrition, and I'm looking at attrition in terms of nature, society, human relationships, and language. It's an endless process which is going on all around us all the time, and yet most people don't notice that it is. So I'm interested in reciprocity. One thing leads to another. One person's interaction affects the reaction back from that person. In terms of the media that I use in my work, there are many and various, but I keep coming back to sandpaper as one of the most important and frequently used ones. And that's because it expresses a duality which is part of the process of attrition. Clearly there's the rough side and the smooth side, so I can use it to express change, one side meeting another and so on. Well, one of the things that struck me was a quote by Sir Winston Churchill when talking about the rebuilding of the House of Commons after the Second World War. He said to the assembled company, the thing to remember is that we shape our buildings and then they shape us. I was rather keen on that idea, and it linked in my mind to this rather prosaic material of sandpaper, because of course sandpaper is used in the building industry and decorating industry very widely. And I thought, well, why don't I make some sandpaper houses or collages involving them to suggest that while we think we're in charge of our house, we decorate it, we control it, actually in many ways the house is in charge of us. And there's a kind of reciprocity there, which I rather like. When I first started using sandpaper, which was back in 2005, I thought a lot about it, and I decided to get someone to make me a sandpaper suit. I found a tailor called Deborah Tallentire, and she agreed to make me this suit out of sandpaper. And of course, making a suit out of sandpaper, if you buy little sort of sheets from the hardware store, is impossible. So eventually, I found someone at 3M who very kindly agreed to provide me with a roll of this sandpaper. And so the suit is made out of a special sandpaper that they make, which has a fabric backing. I'm very fortunate in that we share a house by the seaside, and so I have lots of opportunity to walk along that beach and see life as it passes. And as it happens, the beach where we are is huge at low tide, and it struck me that this is in effect a giant piece of sandpaper, and that the daily action of the tides is constantly breaking down whatever it is that's on the beach. And so I find things there which have been beaten up, distressed, subject to attrition by the action of the sea and the gravel and the stones and so on. And I think there's a rather lovely beauty in that as you look at these objects. They've been beaten up by time and by tides, and I rather like that idea. One of the things I've found is these little bits of clay. These are actually clay, they look like pebbles, and many of them have holes in. And these holes are almost perfectly circular, and they're made by piddocks, common piddocks, boring mollusks, which drill holes there and make their nests in there. And I rather like the juxtaposition of this natural hole, this natural material, and this commonplace man-made material, a sandpaper disc, which of course is used for sanding things down. So this has been sanded down by the sea and the action of the sea on the beach and so on. This has been made by us for sanding other things down. And I've put it on a piece of marine plywood, which is also been delayered by the action of the time and the tides. I'd fallen in love with container ships. Again, a rather odd thing to fall in love with, but I see them sailing through the Solent past the Isle of Wight from Southampton, and I just find them really intriguing. You know, that they sort of go past like these enormous floating cities, and I find them really mysterious and tantalizing. What's in them? Where are they going to? My dream scenario is that someone sees something, they find it sufficiently interesting and attractive that they take another look. And then, even better, if they become intrigued by what it is that they like. So if this year someone comes along and sees one of my works of a cargo ship, and they like the fact that it's done in wet and dry sandpaper, that is great for me. If they then say, oh, why is it wet and dry sandpaper? Why cargo ships? Why? What is a cargo cult? that would be a great result for me. Because if someone were to buy one and they had it on their wall, hopefully it would be aesthetically pleasing, but also intellectually provocative.